Hello, I'm Kimi Räikkönen.
Kimi, did you have any temptation to go to drive the simulator?
No.
When the name Kimi Räikkönen is mentioned, people don't just remember a Formula One legend with a massive fortune of over $250 million, but are also curious about the mysteriously reclusive life of the Iceman after leaving the spotlight. From a notorious bad boy known for all-night parties and a devil-may-care lifestyle, the Kimi of 2026 has executed the most spectacular drift of his life, returning to be a father and husband who is unbelievably ordinary. What will you find inside the doors of his new mansion in the Como region? Not lavish parties, but the image of a millionaire diligently stained with grease, fixing a cart for his son, a world championship Ferrari lying quietly next to dusty dirt bikes, and a legend casually driving a tiny Fiat 500 for a stroll instead of flashy supercars. This article will take you deep into Kimi's inner world, from untold scandal corners, pragmatic investments, to a powerful new role at the Kawasaki racing team. The Iceman has been and is living a life like a true king after leaving the speed tracks. From poor boy in Espoo to $250 million fortune, looking at the colossal fortune worth hundreds of millions of dollars that Kimi Räikkönen owns today. It's hard to imagine that this man had an extremely deprived starting point. The Iceman's wealth didn't come from flashy calculations or lucky inheritance, but was built on the foundation of innate talent and his family's harsh sacrifice. The story of Kimi's money begins in a small wooden house in Espoo, Finland, where comfort was a luxury concept and every penny earned had a clear purpose, serving speed. Kimi grew up in a house built by his grandfather amidst a quiet suburb. The material lack in his early years was a naked reality, not a woven anecdote. Specifically, throughout his childhood, the Räikkönen family had no indoor toilet. Whenever needed, members had to run out to use a makeshift outdoor toilet, whether on summer days or during freezing Nordic winter nights, cutting through the flesh. His father, Matti, and mother, Paula, faced a vital choice for their children's future: use the meager savings to renovate the house, install a sanitary system for a more comfortable life, or pour it all into the expensive racing passion of brothers Kimi and Rami. Finally, they chose the latter. Matti had to work to exhaustion, a road worker by day, a taxi driver by night, and even moonlighting as a bouncer at nightclubs to earn every penny for gas, tires, and spare parts. This practical and fierce sacrifice forged a taciturn Kimi Räikkönen. Unpretentious and always absolutely focused on the goal, he understood that every lap was traded for his parents' sweat and lack of comfort. Kimi's path into the elite was as strange and fast as how he drove. Usually, a driver takes years rolling through lower leagues to accumulate experience and find sponsors. But Kimi broke all those rules. With merely 23 races in Formula Renault, he caught the eye of Peter Sauber. The Sauber team boss made a reckless decision, signing him to an official Formula One contract in 2001, skipping a series of normal promotion procedures. This decision caused a wave of fierce opposition from experts and even the then FIA president, as they thought giving an F1 supercar license to an inexperienced young guy was too dangerous. However, Kimi extinguished all doubts right in the first race by scoring points, opening a new era for himself. From here, money began flowing into his pocket, starting with basic salaries, then skyrocketing when he moved to McLaren in 2002. At McLaren, although the car frequently had technical issues causing him to regrettably lose the championship multiple times, Kimi's terrifying speed turned him into an A-list star, paving the way for him to become the world's highest-paid athlete later. Most of the colossal fortune Kimi holds today comes from the period he wore the Ferrari and later Lotus jerseys. Moving to Ferrari in 2007 to replace legend Michael Schumacher, Kimi signed a record contract at the time, with an estimated salary of about $51 million per year. Right in that first season, he won the World Championship, bringing glory to the Italian team. The huge salary and bonuses during the 3-year contract at Ferrari laid a solid foundation for his financial empire. An interesting detail about Kimi's earning ability is that in 2010, when Ferrari wanted to replace him with Fernando Alonso, even though the contract was still valid, they had to pay Kimi a huge compensation just for him not to race for any other F1 team that year. Kimi happily accepted this money, using it to switch to rally and NASCAR to satisfy his passion, turning a year of unemployment into the highest-paid vacation in history. However, the financial deal showing Kimi's pragmatism and luck most clearly must be the contract with the Lotus team in 2012. Deciding to return to F1, Kimi joined Lotus, a team without a budget abundant enough to pay a sky-high fixed salary like Ferrari. So, the two sides reached an agreement. Kimi received a low base salary, but in return would be rewarded 50,000 euros for every point scored on the track. Lotus leadership probably miscalculated the form of a driver who had just left F1 for 2 years. Kimi performed unimaginably well, continuously standing on the podium and scoring a total of 390 points in the 2012 and 2013 seasons. Doing a simple calculation, this points bonus amounted to 19.5 million euros, not counting other fixed salaries and bonuses. This too large amount pushed the Lotus team to the brink of bankruptcy, forcing them to owe Kimi for a long time and only pay off after financial restructuring. The story of Kimi almost bankrupting his team because he raced too well became a classic anecdote in the sports business world. Besides his direct income from racing, Kimi also proved himself a sharp but safe investor. He didn't throw money into risky projects or stocks, but chose the safe haven of real estate. Kimi owns a series of expensive mansions in Finland, Switzerland, and recently Italy. These properties were bought very early and their value has multiplied over time. Besides, the motocross racing team named Ice One Racing is also a big asset, unlike money-spending hobbies of other millionaires. This team is operated by Kimi as a professional business. He invests methodically, turning it into a factory team representing Kawasaki at the MXGP World Championship. As an owner, Kimi not only satisfies his two-wheel passion, but also creates cash flow from sponsorship contracts and prizes. Migration to Italy and the champions Rolls-Royce. 2026 marks a turning point in how Kimi Räikkönen chooses a place to settle down. A decision not based on personal enjoyment, but entirely revolving around the future of the next generation. If throughout nearly 2 decades of peak competition in Formula One, Kimi was associated with an isolated and lavish image in Switzerland, now his life map has been redrawn with the focus in northern Italy. Previously, the Räikkönen family's fortress was Villa Butterfly, a mansion worth about $24 million in Bar, Switzerland. It was an architectural masterpiece with an underground garage, indoor pool, and absolute privacy. However, that house has now become the past or just a place to visit occasionally, because Kimi decided to execute a great migration for the whole family to the Lake Como region of Italy. The only and most important reason for this costly and complex change of residence is his eldest son, Robin Räikkönen. Italy is considered the mecca of world karting, gathering the most standard tracks, best engineers, and fiercest competitive environment. For Robin to develop his career smoothly without tiring constant flights, Kimi accepted leaving the safety zone in Switzerland to plunge into the bustling life in Italy. In Como, Kimi didn't choose to live in an isolated castle as before. With pragmatic thinking and careful calculation, he established a dual real estate model to maximally serve the family's diverse needs. First, he owns a penthouse right in the center of bustling Como City. This is the headquarters for his wife, Mintu, and the children on school days. This location helps the kids easily access international schools, while Mintu finds it convenient for shopping, meeting friends, and handling daily needs without being isolated. However, the soul of this new life lies in the second property, an old farmhouse in a quiet suburb, not too far from the center. Kimi bought this vast land and carried out a comprehensive renovation. Unlike the glamour of Villa Butterfly, this farm bears a rustic, rough, and deeply technical beauty. Kimi turned old warehouses into a modern mechanical workshop complex. This is where he spends most of his day. Here, he installed lift systems, tire balancers, parts storage, and precision measuring equipment specifically serving the maintenance and tuning of racing cars for Robin. This house isn't for vacation. It's a factory where father and son work together, get stained with grease together, and share the passion for speed. Although current life revolves around Italy, deep in his soul, Kimi is still a purebred Finn, always yearning for the silence and cold of his homeland. Therefore, Villa Porkala in Finland remains the most important real estate asset spiritually that he insists on keeping. This seaside villa is designed in Nordic minimalist style with large glass panels stretching from ceiling to floor, allowing a direct view of the gray ocean and vast pine forests. This is Kimi's absolute shelter whenever he wants to disconnect with the world. Every summer vacation or important holiday, Kimi takes the whole big family on a private jet back here. At Porkala, there is no engine roar, no performance pressure, only the sound of waves and heat from the traditional sauna. He often spends hours driving a motorboat threading through small islands, grilling meat outdoors, and enjoying the feeling of being a normal man amidst wild nature. The balance between busyness in Italy and silence in Finland is the key helping Kimi maintain energy and happiness in middle age. Speaking of daily transportation, Kimi's car garage in 2026 clearly reflects the role of a large family breadwinner. You won't see him driving low-slung supercars to pick up kids or go to the supermarket. Instead, the car used with the highest frequency is the Rolls-Royce Wraith Black Badge Edition. Kimi chose this car not for brand ostentation, but for the practical values it brings, with a V12 engine smooth to the point of being almost silent in air suspension. The car is like a flying carpet, helping his wife and children have the most comfortable journeys. The suicide door design makes getting kids in and out easier than ever. The spacious and absolutely soundproof interior turns the car into a mobile private space, where the family can chat without being disturbed by traffic noise outside. For Kimi, this Rolls-Royce is simply the safest and most comfortable family transport vehicle money can buy. The Iceman's Garage, where untouchable treasures are hidden. If the previous chapter portrayed a Kimi Räikkönen of everyday life, of fatherly responsibility, then this chapter will open the door leading into his deep inner world, where the flame of passion for speed still burns silently and fiercely. Kimi's personal garage isn't merely a place to park cars, it is a museum of memories, storing the top mechanical machines he once drove, expensive toys serving pure joy, and memorabilia defining him as a living legend. In the most solemn position, preserved in ideal temperature and humidity conditions, is the priceless treasure any speed believer craves to touch, the Ferrari F2007 Formula One race car. This is chassis number 262, the warhorse that created the greatest comeback in F1 history with Kimi at the 2007 Brazil Grand Prix. Unlike display cars with only hollow carbon fiber shells often seen at events, Kimi's F2007 is a complete living machine. Beneath the legendary Rosso Corsa red shell is still the original naturally aspirated 2.4-liter V8 engine block, seamless gearbox system, and complex electronics. Ferrari gifted this car to Kimi as a special tribute for the World Championship he brought to the team. Owning a runnable F1 car at home is an extremely rare privilege. Although starting it requires a team of engineers and specialized equipment, Kimi keeps it in perfect condition. Occasionally, he sits in the cramped cockpit, places hands on the button-filled steering wheel, closes eyes, and lets memories of the glorious Sunday in 2007 rush back. This car is physical proof, a tangible legacy showing he was once the fastest man on the planet. Standing next to the F1 race car is another symbol of speed and wealth, the Ferrari Enzo. This is one of the rarest and most sought-after commercial supercars in the world. Kimi has owned this car since he was still racing for Ferrari and never intended to sell it, even though its market value has now risen to astronomical levels. For Kimi, the Enzo isn't a financial investment, but the pinnacle of traditional car crafting technology. He loves it for its purity, naturally aspirated 12-valve engine, no complex hybrid system, bringing authentic driving feeling and emotional roaring sound. The car is rarely rolled out onto public streets to avoid unnecessary attention, but every time Kimi starts the engine within the home grounds, its sound is like a symphony reminding of a golden era of internal combustion engines. However, the true personality of the Iceman is most clearly shown through the collection of unique two-wheelers. Kimi is a fervent motorcycle enthusiast, and he owns two unique custom bikes named Iceman 1 and Iceman 2. These are mechanical artworks handcrafted by Marcus Waltz, the renowned German customizer of Waltz hardcore cycles. These bikes were tailored to Kimi's exact preferences in physique: extremely low ground clearance, elongated fuel tank, wide rear tire, and wide handlebars. They are painted matte black or dark red, without any superfluous details, exuding coldness and arrogance exactly like the owner. On the body, the Iceman logo is intricately engraved into metal. Kimi often rides these bikes strolling around deserted roads, enjoying liberal freedom, wind whipping the face, and the feeling of not being confined in a glass cage. That's when he gets to live with his dusty and underground rebellious ego. Next to flashy custom bikes is a fleet of professional dirt bikes. As the boss and operator of the Kawasaki racing team at MXGP, Kimi owns factory versions of Kawasaki KX450 and KX250. These are not commercial bikes you can buy in a store, but true racing machines equipped with the most advanced technologies from suspension to engine. These bikes are frequently stained with mud because Kimi uses them to practice and test with his team's racers. For him, motocross is the sport demanding the harshest physical strength and skills, helping him maintain sharpness and resilient health in middle age. Finally, impossible not to mention the memory-keeping corner arranged by his wife, Mintu. Although Kimi is famous for not prioritizing material titles, Mintu understands those memorabilia are history. She dedicated a separate space to display colorful helmets Kimi wore through eras, from the silver McLaren helmet, red Ferrari, black gold Lotus, to white red Alfa Romeo. Each helmet is a chapter in the autobiography of his racing career. Beside them are rare championship cups Kimi bothered to bring home, polished clean and placed solemnly on shelves. This overall space doesn't bring a feeling of showing off, but brings warmth and appreciation. It is where Kimi can lead his children in, point at each item, and tell them stories about perseverance, victories, and failures that made their father who he is today. The dark corner behind the halo: alcohol, scandal, and salvation. To fully understand Kimi Räikkönen, we cannot just look at championship cups or massive assets while ignoring dark patches, hidden corners, and scandals that once consumed so much press ink. Kimi was never a perfect athlete model according to modern media's clean standards. He is a thorny, instinctual, and sometimes wild personality. But that very imperfection is the final piece, creating a true picture of a legend who found salvation from family. In the past, Kimi was famous as a notorious playboy in the racing village. If on the track he was cold and precise like a machine, in real life, he lived indulgently and passionately with endless parties. F1 fans certainly cannot forget the classic image at the 2006 Monaco Grand Prix, when his McLaren race car suffered engine failure and caught fire midway. According to normal regulations, the driver must return to the garage area for technical meetings and interviews. But not Kimi. He leisurely walked from the track straight to the harbor, stepped onto his private yacht, took off the hot racing suit, and opened a beer to drink with friends while the race was still fierce on the TV screen right next to him. That act was considered unprofessional and extremely arrogant to managers. But for the audience, it was the moment Kimi became a symbol of freedom, indifference, and living true to his emotions. The biggest and most dangerous dark corner in Kimi's career was his relationship with alcohol. In his autobiography, he once revealed a shocking truth that in 2012, between two races in Bahrain and Spain, he drank and partied continuously for 16 days and nights without rest. That was a health-destroying lifestyle no top athlete dared try, let alone doing it right before an important race. But the strange thing is, right after that drunk streak, he still stepped onto the podium in Spain as if nothing happened. Another moment also going down in history was at the 2018 FOA Gala Award ceremony. Kimi appeared on stage, broadcast live globally in a drunk state, walking unsteadily, putting arms around colleagues' shoulders, and having funny, uncontrolled actions, instead of being criticized. The image of drunk Uncle Kimi made fans feel he was closer and more ordinary than ever, escaping the flashy shell of a star. However, any wild horse eventually needs someone to hold the reins, and Kimi's life turned a completely new page when he met Mintu Virtanen. Before coming to Mintu, Kimi's first marriage to Miss Scandinavia Jenny Dahlman ended after 9 years without children, leaving him a free but lonely life. Mintu, a former flight attendant and fitness model, came to Kimi not for fame or money, but because she saw the loneliness behind his cold exterior. She was the only woman brave enough to reset order for the Iceman's chaotic life. Mintu didn't forbid Kimi to have fun, but she set boundaries and, more importantly, she brought him something he never truly had: a true home. The birth of first in Robin in 2015, then daughter Rihanna in 2017, and youngest Grace in 2023 completed Kimi's taming process. From a bad boy smashing bars, Kimi transformed into an unbelievably model father. By 2026, Kimi's familiar image is no longer attached to strong liquor bottles or all-night parties, but the image of a middle-aged man patiently tying shoelaces for his child, carrying bulky bags for his wife, and diligently fixing the cart for Robin. He finds joy in taking children to school, teaching them to ride bikes, and participating in the most normal family activities. Kimi once admitted fatherhood completely changed his thinking. Before, racing was everything, was the reason for living. But now, racing or business is only secondary. Children's health and smiles are priority number one. Kimi and Mintu's current married life is considered one of the most sustainable models in the sports world. No love scandals, no rumors of rifts or property disputes. They built a private life, away from media scrutiny. Mintu is not just a wife, but a manager, a companion, and the flame keeper for the family. She understands her husband's introverted personality well, so she always actively handles social interaction issues, letting Kimi be comfortable in his own world. Conversely, Kimi gives his wife absolute respect and love. He always affirms that without Mintu, he might have slid down temptations and couldn't have the peace like today. In 2026, dark corners of the past have receded, giving way to the warm light of kinship. The current Kimi Räikkönen no longer needs to prove coolness or indifference. He found the biggest victory of his life, not on the fiery F1 track, but in the house full of laughter in the Como region. Past scandals are now just funny stories to tell at the table, reminding of a fierce youth past, to appreciate more the precious silence of the present. Fans might miss a wild Iceman, but they are happier seeing their idol living peacefully and fully with loved ones. That is the most fulfilling ending for a bad boy who chose to stop at the right time to be a decent man. When the legend becomes the boss behind the scene, 2026 marks an important milestone. Not Kimi Räikkönen's return behind the wheel of Formula One cars, as many nostalgic fans still secretly hope, but the explosion of a completely new Kimi in the role of creator and leader. If before, the world knew him as a cold loner on the track, now he is running a speed empire of his own with busyness and enthusiasm even greater than in his youth. The concept of retirement seems not to exist in Kimi's dictionary. It simply shifts from directly driving to standing behind directing and shaping victory for others. The biggest focus in Kimi's 2026 plan is the role of team principal of the Kawasaki racing team at the MXGP World Championship. This isn't an honorary title or a stroll for a person with excess money. Kimi turned his Ice One racing team into the official factory representative for Japanese giant Kawasaki, and he runs it with absolute seriousness. On race weekends, people don't see Kimi sitting in air-conditioned VIP rooms drinking champagne. Instead, he frequently appears in the technical area, boots stained with mud, wearing a headset, and eyes glued to data screens. Kimi brings the disciplined mindset and millimeter precision of Formula One applied to the dusty motocross world. He directly participates in tactical meetings, analyzes suspension data, and gives strict instructions to young riders. His goal in 2026 is very clear: lead Kawasaki to win the World Championship. Kimi's joy now is seeing the green bike cross the finish line first created by his own team. A satisfaction feeling completely different from driving himself. Parallel to the ambition at the World Dirt Bike Championship, Kimi is pouring all his heart into the most important personal project of his life, named Robin Räikkönen. In 2026, eldest son Robin turned 11, a key age to transform from amateur races to a professional and harsher karting environment in Italy. Kimi currently plays the role of a multi-talented father head coach. mechanical engineer, sponsor, and even shuttle driver. At tracks in Italy, the image of Kimi working diligently under the car chassis, holding a wrench adjusting the carburetor or measuring tire pressure for his son, has become familiar. He doesn't hire a separate mechanic for Robin because he wants to personally ensure the car is in perfect condition, and also to teach his son about mechanics. On the track, Kimi teaches Robin not with empty, encouraging words, but with tactical lessons: how to save tires, how to choose braking points, and how to overtake opponents most coldly. Media starts mentioning the name Ace, Robin's nickname, a lot, but Kimi always tries to protect his son from the spotlight too early, keeping the boy's feet on the ground to focus entirely on expertise. Besides the two main areas of motocross and karting, 2026 also witnesses Kimi shining in the role of brand ambassador and senior technical advisor. He doesn't accept random advertisements, but only cooperates with brands truly related to performance. Most notable is the partnership with electric car company Zeekr, specifically the high-performance supercar line 001 FR. Kimi doesn't just put his name for photos, he actually participates in the car development process as Chief Performance Advisor. He spends days on test tracks, directly driving sample cars with over 1,200 horsepower to feel and give adjustments on steering and chassis systems. Kimi likes this job because it allows him to access top technology without being bound by a dense competition schedule. He helps this Chinese automaker create cars with the most real driving feel, bold European sports quality, and the success of this car line on the international market in 2026 has his significant mark. Looking at the busy schedule of 2026, one can see Kimi Räikkönen is living the most brilliant and meaningful days. He no longer has to bear pressure from media, doesn't have to answer silly questions from reporters or attend social events he hates. His current life revolves around what he loves most: engines, speed, and family. In the morning, he might be discussing racing tactics at Kawasaki's technical workshop. In the afternoon, he is a father meticulously adjusting the racing seat for his son, and in the evening, he returns to the quiet house by Lake Como, having dinner with his wife and playing with little daughter Grace. Kimi's future isn't a straight line down after retirement, but an expansion into new horizons. He is building the foundation for the next generation, not only for his son, but also for the racing team he manages. The explosion of 2026 isn't measured by F1 exhaust noise, but by influence and legacy he creates every day. The Iceman has found his eternal summer, where he masters time, masters the game, and most importantly, lives true to his nature: speak less, do more, and always move forward at top speed. The story of Kimi Räikkönen has never ended. It has just moved to a new chapter, more fascinating, practical, and happier. We are not responsible if you misinterpret or misapply this content. Please consider, verify, and receive selectively. Enjoyed it? Leave a like, comment, share, or subscribe. That is the fuel for us to tell more top-tier stories about other F1 superstars.